So here we are, the final two races of the final round of the Club 100 Experience Championship. We're starting P18 for race 1. I wasn't particularly happy with how it did in qualifying. It didn't feel too bad out there on circuit, but then to be P18, considering we can be in the top 10 for these races, so it's a bit disappointing, but it provides opportunity to move forward, which is always fun, and especially after quite a clean start. We've moved forward one so far, and then managed to get through the two hairpins reasonably cleanly, moving down the hill, opening up an opportunity for us going through the bottom corner at the bottom of the hill, and then through Garda, just trying to find that position. The next lap, things getting a bit argy-bargy in front of us, which we're not able to capitalise on. The kart in front could, but we were a little bit too far back to do that, so we just tuck in behind and thinking we might be able to follow some people through. That's Tim Williams we're following through there, and we end up staying behind him for a few more laps and just try to use the moves that he's making to try and get us through. So got a position through the first two turns, finished it off through hairpin 1, and we're up into 15th. So 3 positions gained so far. All is looking good. Skipping forwards again, P15, we get quite a nice run through this first hairpin, which gives us an opportunity to throw it up the inside into hairpin 2. Nice clean move, good driving from our other driver as well, keeping it clean, slotting in behind, and then come chasing down after Tim again, and we end up with the group in front where one of them gets kicked wide, try to throw it up the inside there, and we're 2x2 going towards the S's, but the better line means that we are all good up into 13th place. And then down this hill, it's very, very cold on this weekend, and if you got offline, especially through that right-hander, you just understeered like nobody's business out towards the left-hand side. No grip whatsoever. So didn't want to be doing that. But what we do want to be doing is we want to be going at the inside of hairpin 2 up into 12th place and see if we can make a charge down towards the top 10, getting a good run through turns 1 and 2. Could have been more consistent there over the course of the weekend, but all in all it was a pretty strong corner for us. We managed to see if we could make up a bit of time. We went for another move going through the second hairpin, but get a little bit tangled up that time, so we get one, but we end up getting slowed down and end up losing the place of the car that was behind us. So +1, -1, not good if you wanted to go forward, so we stay in 12th. And then another point we sort of struggled this weekend was from that bottom hairpin up towards Garda. Didn't get a particularly good drive through there, but we did see the move come in, which meant that we could cut it back, get some better momentum going through the left-hander at centre, and then back up the hill and stay in 12th place rather than dropping back down to 13th. And that's about it for that race, really. Nothing really happened from that point on. We stayed in 12th, and it was a pretty stagnant gap the entire time. We did eventually catch up on the last lap once the karts in front started to get a bit spicy with each other, but we crossed the line P12, which would end up being P11 with some post-race penalties applied afterwards for some drivers in front. And having finished 11th officially in race 1, that's where we'll start race 2, as is the way of the Club 100 Experience Championship. But we don't get a particularly good start in this one, not able to stick to Jordan's bumper in front of us, and that allows Kevin to slot across into that gap that we left, so not a particularly good start from us. But we do manage to, as we go through the first hairpin, put it up into P9, but then get caught up in this bit of a spin, end up slowing right down, and then get swallowed by a load of karts that are able to keep their momentum up better than us, end up getting nudged wide going through the first left of the S's, but we do get one position back as we come back down the hill. So P11 to P13 across the course of the first lap, so it went backwards, but at least it wasn't absolutely awful. Tell you what wasn't awful is the driver that just went past us ends up getting another 2 karts in just as many corners. So fair play to him, some pretty good driving. We need whatever he had for breakfast. And then kind of like the first race, that stretch from the bottom of the hill into Garda just wasn't a good stretch for us. We didn't seem to quite have the consistency that we did through that bottom of the hill the last time we were at Buckmore Park. So we were able to make quite a few moves into Garda last time through, but we dropped down to P14. But our hopes aren't dashed too much, because we can see up ahead it's getting pretty physical, which only means that's going to be slowing them down and giving us an opportunity to stay with them. And that's exactly what happens, because we are able to eventually, going through the second hairpin, get out the inside of Carolis and a second car as we take our way through the S's, thanks to having a better line back into 12th position, which seems to be my favourite one this weekend. And you can see here, just wanting to then get a drive to go up the inside of Garda, but it never really happened, because just didn't seem to be able to maintain momentum as well as I wanted to, and definitely want to maintain your momentum. Ended up getting caught out a little bit there. Probably shouldn't have tapped on the brake, but that unsettled the car, made us slide wide, and we ended up losing position back down into P13 as we take a not particularly good run through turns 1 and 2, and then an even worse run going through Garda. Again, just not happy in that section of circuit today, which allowed Carolis to get back up the inside of us, slot us back down to P14, and all to do again. But coming back up the hill towards the first corner, we've caught back up. Carolis has made his way through, but he makes a little bit of a mistake going through turn 1, which in turn opens up a bit of space for us at the inside. So we get out the inside of 1, and then going into the first hairpin inside of 2. So back into P12 with quite a gap in front now to try and break down, having been caught up in a bunch of overtaking moves, which of course slow you down. And just like the first race, nothing really happened from that point on. We were kind of like in our own little section of track from that point on, but Carolis was keeping us super honest. So I thought, as it's the last lap of the last round of this championship and the last let's try this again video, we'd take a journey all the way around Buckmore Park. So Carolis behind us, we know he's close, and then coming down towards the bottom of the hill, we catch ourselves out, end up going in too deep to the bottom of the hill, and so to make sure we keep this favourite P12 that we've had this weekend, staple it to the inside going in towards Garda, making sure that nothing can happen there, and we go for our final run up the hill of 2021 to finish on the road in P12. But that would end up being P9 after some post-race penalties in front of us. So we finished in the top 10 even if it wasn't on the road, which secured us P11 in the championship. So we didn't quite get our top 10 finish that we were hoping for at the start of the year, but what we did get was some really good fun racing. So thanks to absolutely everyone that was part of this championship. It made this long overdue return to karting a real highlight of this year. So much so that the entry's gone in for the Sprint 60 and Sprint Championships next year, so hopefully I'll be bringing you videos from those as well. But until next time, and until next season, have a good one.